October 2nd, 2024, we got ice on the lake, just starting along the edges. Shouldn't be long now before the whole thing starts freezing up. Calling for snow on Sunday, Saturday night, early Sunday morning. So we'll see. So at the end of last winter, I installed the GPS mount onto here, and I have some wiring that I thought needed to be mounted down here at the clutch. Now I have the option with that, with some wiring that I bought, but somebody told me that there's a connection underneath this gauge package. So I'm going to pull this out and try to get it wired in. That way the GPS boots up as soon as you start the snow machine. So this GPS just clicks into this mount. I just need to get the wiring hooked up. Right now I could run it, but it would just run on the battery, internal battery of the GPS. So let's fire this thing up, first time. Just need to do a little bit of maintenance to this machine and then work on that wiring on the Summit. So I have a propane stove that I can use to heat water. I have the wood stove in the cabin, which is my primary source of heating water. And what I do is I get my bucket, take this up, fill it with hot water, 110 to 115 degrees. And I actually have a thermometer here that I check it with, but I have a laser one up in the cabin that I use to test the water temperature. Bring it down here, throw the hose in the bucket. This turns the pump on and off. So you stand in the bucket. These have magnets in the bottom, and you'll just surround yourself with the shower curtain with the magnets kind of connected in the backside, and shower. When you're done, you empty the water. So you make sure you drain all the water out. I should leave it like that now because we're getting close to freezing overnight right now. So in the new shower sauna, the bucket's not going to be on a shelf. It's going to be on the ground. All this pump stuff is going to be inside of a box. The battery's going to be in that same box, and the charger. That way you don't have wires running all over the place looking all hokey. The only thing that'll be in the shower again over there is this switch. 1 5-gallon bucket of water is plenty to take a shower. I usually have water left over after I take a very thorough shower. The wood stove is going to go in the new workshop, and in the new shower sauna I'm getting a Harvia finish wood stove, sauna stove. And the way the next shower sauna is going to be arranged is this back portion is going to be the shower. It's going to have a wall, I think. I'm not certain yet, but there'll be a wall and a door, and then the sauna portion will be much smaller than it currently is. So it'll heat up fast. It'll require less wood to get everything heated up. Bench is going to be smaller, and it's going to sit up higher. It's going to have a step, and the bench will be sitting up high. That way when you're sitting on the bench, your head will be up in this area here. I'm going to use the same door that I have now. This whole structure is going to get torn down. I'm going to try to repurpose all the cedar that's on the ceiling and the walls. So during the winter, the shower sauna is semi-open. It gets pretty deep, but then the snowdrift forms really high over here and basically covers the whole workshop. Frequently in the winter, you can just walk up on to the workshop here. Since the foundation wasn't built on rock, it was just set on the ground on some piles. They've sunk down and allowed the whole unit to tilt. Originally, it was just a shower sauna. The workshop was built onto it with basically a flat roof, which is kind of a mistake up here. The new workshop's going to be larger, and it's going to have a conventional roof. And the shower sauna is going to have a much steeper pitch on the roof than it currently has also. And I'm debating whether to slant it back up here. So if I have the roof slanting over the cliff, the snow should shed itself and fall down over the cliff. So if I build a slanted roof like that, that'll give me a lot of real estate on this wall, the south wall, to put some solar panels. And so again, the shower portion will be in the back side, and the sauna portion will be in the front. It's going to have a small porch come off. So underneath the cabin, which is anchored to the rock, it's totally built on rock, so you'll never have foundation issues here. Got a shelf for wood. At the new workshop, I'm going to do the same thing. The new workshop's going to be about 3 feet in the air, and I'm going to have some shelves underneath of it where I can store wood just like this. Got 55-gallon drums for the water catchment system. I need to pull these gutters down soon. Need to pull them down for the winter. At some point, I'm going to either put it on a magnet system or some type of hinge to where it's just easy to just snap it back up, instead of pulling all the screws and all those brackets off, re-snapping that gutter in every year. Those brackets are kind of difficult to work with. So I got one cistern on each side. So there's the water pump, which I turn on and off with a switch inside. If I want to switch barrels, right now I have it set up where you actually have to come out and switch hoses. So in the future, I'm gonna change this to where it's plumbed into the strainer for the water pump, and it'll have a water valve that you can turn each cistern on or off. This is my cover for the ice hole that I cut in the lake. The pipe on the top is to put a windsock to keep planes from landing on top of this in my hole. The bottom side's foam insulation. So you cut your hole in the lake ice, put this down on it, put your flag in there, and then cover it with snow. And it keeps it insulated, keeps your hole open. Because in the winter, I'm going to take these barrels and put them in the workshop. They come out, gutters come down, and the barrels go in the workshop. I'm also contemplating rebuilding the ATV shed, making it bigger so I can keep both the utility work sleds in this, keep the ATV under the back porch, keeping the 2 mountain sleds in the workshop. So if I have enough wood left over from the construction of the workshop and the shower sauna, I'm going to build a bigger ATV shed. Problem with the ATV that I have now, the Suzuki, is getting it in and out of here. It rubs on both sides. I don't have a problem with snow drifts over here. At times it gets deep, but it's easy to shovel it out and get in and out of here. But the workshop's another story. Winds blast out of the northeast, and the snow just builds up around this workshop and the shower sauna. Right now the whole thing's tilted back to the northwest. It'd be moderately easy to fix, but I don't want to do that and still have to shovel all this snow in the winter. So this is currently the workshop, which will be torn down. Everything piled in here for the winter. So the workshop has its own solar system and wind turbine. Shower sauna just has a small little battery and a small solar panel, and it works fine. ATV shed also has its own solar system, and I can hook up the trickle charger and whatever vehicle's in there, or I can run an extension cord out the door and trickle charge batteries or run tools. Cabin's got 2 solar systems and a wind turbine. The wind turbine runs the outside battery bank, which are silicone gel. The cabin has lithium batteries, and I have to shut them off when I go to work in the winter. You can't charge them when it's cold out, and it's cold inside the cabin when I leave. So that system gets shut down, and the outside system, solar panel, wind turbine, charges the silicone gel batteries, and the only thing that's running in the winter is the refrigeration in there, which, since the inside of the cabin's freezing cold, doesn't run very often. When I build a new workshop, it's going to have a large chest freezer in it and a much larger solar system. So I'll be able to keep a very large chest freezer. That way I can start moose hunting. I don't do it now because I'd just be wasting a lot of meat. Yeah, that fell off. What I'm doing here is several times a year I'll disinfect these water jugs. So I have a chlorine shock treatment in here. I'll just pour it from jug to jug to jug, and I'll rinse them out, put some fresh water in them. To air out a little bit. Got all the jugs numbered, that way if I develop a leak in one of them, and I'll know number 5 is leaking. So slosh it around in there, let that sit, and clean the cap and the spout, put that in a chlorine bleach. Cleaning all these spouts. Oh, Open it up all the way and set it in the bleach. So in the summertime, my sink works. In the wintertime, it doesn't, because you need a water pump and you need cisterns. That's how I turn the water pump on and off. You can leave it on, but the problem is something, some critter bites into your pipe, or you have an issue with the plumbing, it's going to pump your cisterns dry. With the pump off, the water's not going to go anywhere. That bears chew on the cisterns themselves before too, and so that's a problem. Hear a plane coming. So I guess I should give you a quick rundown of the cabin. At the front door, and refrigerator freezer, and another refrigerator freezer. A trash can, reloading desk / computer desk, but I actually have the computer over here right now. I got a load of laundry that I'm getting ready to do, and the washing machine is tucked up underneath the counter over here. And I have a drying rack, some clothespins. Back over to this side, learning to play guitar. I play very badly, but loudly. There's the amp that I have, 100 watts. It's extremely loud. Shake everything off the shelves in here. I have my weather station and light switch for the couch lights. It's 3 5-watt, so that'll draw 15 watts when I have that on. I have 5 of the same exact lights in here, drawing 5 watts apiece. Mainly I use these. I just use the kitchen ones when I go in there. Bookshelf with some books and adult beverages. And so here's my couch, or futon. It stays in the futon position because in the wintertime, I'll sleep down here often because the northern lights come through those windows. So if I open an eye while I'm sleeping and I see the northern lights, I'll wake up and watch the northern lights. Need storage space everywhere. It's only 480 square feet, so there's a bunch of stuff underneath the futon. Made a little coffee table while I'm sitting on the couch. I can have my junk on there. And that chest of drawers, it used to be 6 drawers high, and I cut it in half, and there was no place in here where it would really fit well, so I cut it in half and put a bookshelf in the middle, and it fits perfectly underneath that window. Closed drawers on either side. Have 3 fire extinguishers in here, 2 by the wood stove and 1 by the door. Actually a small one by the stove too. Got my cross-country skis. Put my boots behind the wood stove there to dry out. But I also have a boot mat over here by the front door. You still drag mud and snow in, but it's just in that first little section. Got a Blaze King Princess wood stove. It's oversized for this cabin, so on low it will roast you out of here. So I usually have windows open in the winter to keep it below 80 degrees. Even with the windows open, it's usually 80, 82, 84, somewhere around there. My 2 hot water heaters. Got a spot and scope back there. That way I can hook my cell phone to it, record stuff far out, or just watch things through it. Keep a pair of binoculars there. If I see something moving, I'll check it out, and if I want to look at it closer, I'll break out the spot and scope. I have 3 oil lanterns. Those 2 there. They're not the best of quality. I need to buy the good German oil lanterns. And then that fancy looking thing right there, I hardly ever use it. So I keep a bag of wood there next to the fire, either side. Sometimes I have one on either side. I haven't had any problems with it melting these in 10 years, even if, with it 6 inches away. This Blaze King actually has heat shields on either side. Got my TV, sort of guitar junk and computer stuff on that shelf I built. 4 swivel chairs in here. A meat grinder, vacuum sealer, my spice rack, all my cast iron, my pans, meat saw, meat hook. I built all the cabinets in the kitchen. They're super sturdy. It's my first attempt at ever building cabinets, and it just came out all right. Got my stove and my oven. Runs off of propane, which is sitting right on the other side of the wall there. It's real easy and quick to switch out. It used to be underneath the cabin, but that was the hassle, especially in the winter, shoveling snow out of the way, crawling underneath there and getting it switched out. I just ran it right through the wall and set it on the porch. Built all the shelves, keep a bunch of beans and rice and flour, sugar, all that junk up here. My pots and pans and all my utensils, knives. Put a farm sink in. Underneath here, you got to keep an eye on the buckets. Right now that one's half full. You don't want to let it spill over, else you'll be cleaning up. But on the bottom of all the cabinets, I put epoxy down. That way if it gets wet, it's easy to clean up and it doesn't mess the wood up. It's like a little pull in there. So canned goods too, if you let them freeze and then when they fall back out, they sweat, they'll mess up the wood. So all the cabinets have epoxy bases on them. Here's my lithium battery set up in here. Those are run by the main cabin system here, but I'll shut this system down in the winter time. I can't attempt to charge the batteries in the cold. They do have a battery management system in them, but I just shut it down. Once the cabin's warm, when I get back, everything's about 70-80 degrees in here, then I'll start that main system back up. The refrigeration, which runs all year, is run off of this system and the wind turbine. I have it set up so that I can switch the wind turbine to the inside main system, but I've never needed to do that. So what I'm going to do is, I should have already done it, is switch the refrigeration so I can switch the refrigerators to the inside and the outside, because sometimes the outside system struggles a little bit because it only has 350 watts of solar panels. So if I switch it to the inside battery bank and give that system a rest, the batteries for that system are in this insulated cabinet here. I have my generator, which I can plug into the main cabin system lithium, charge it up. I can also run an extension cord from there to here, and there's battery charger inside this cabinet, so I can charge up the batteries in there off of the generator. We got 2 steel drums out here for food storage. I've got 4 food drums over there for food storage. Everything's packed long term. The entire cabin porch is protected by an electric fence. So when I go to sleep, I charge it up. I have game cameras on the cabin, and they'll alert me when something's moving out here, and I'll come out and check it out, scare it off. So there's the shutters for the cabin, but in the future, they're going to be stored underneath where that wood is. When when the workshop is built over there, it's going to have storage underneath of it for the wood. So I'll actually have a place to keep this instead of up on the porch. Because when it gets windy out, these start moving around and making noise. The electric fence charger is in that box there. My snowshoes, which I have to take with me when I leave the cabin this time, because when I come back from work next time, I'm going to need them to get from the helicopter landing zone over to here. So I'll take those with me. Right now it's about 48 degrees. That one says. And this one says 43. That one there gives me the battery temperature inside of that battery box outside. The silicone gel batteries, which again are run off of this system here. My little speaker here so I can jam out, and my tea and hot cocoa and coffee. So to get up in the loft, you pull down some attic stairs and climb up the ladder. This is so much nicer than having a staircase or a permanent straight up ladder mounted to get up into the loft. This up and out of the way. It's a very good idea. The builder of the cabin did good with that. So take you up there, look at the loft. So the loft is a king size bed. So that window, you can easily regulate the heat when you're sleeping. Just open it up to cool it down and shut it to get warmer. Most of the time it's too hot, so I'll have that open even when it's -20 outside. Little end table. So I have 4 chests up here that I have my clothes in. So I'm making English muffins, which I do with my sourdough discard. I'll knead it up into a ball, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then I'll make some muffins in a frying pan with a cover. Just cook them on low heat. Probably about 10 minutes each side. Just throw that in there and into the refrigerator. So I don't post a whole lot of my cooking because my recipes are pretty boring and same things over and over and over. So tonight I'm going to have ground beef with, I don't know, probably rice. When I cook something fancy, I'll post it, but my cooking's mostly pretty boring. Ground beef and liver and rice. A little bit of rice, not a lot. Try to take it easy on the carbs. granulated onion and granulated garlic. Well, there it is, dinner. Ground beef, beef liver, and rice. Put some sriracha on the top. Everybody that's new to the channel, I just want to give everybody an overview of my remote off-grid property here in Alaska. So I'm going to go tend to my trail cams right now and move a couple of them. I got some set low and they'll get covered with snow and I won't be able to get them until spring, so expecting snow this Saturday evening. So let's run down there first. This is the back trail I'm on. We have the ATV shed over here. Right now it has a 2015 Skidoo Tundra with a 600 ace engine, 4-stroke, sips the fuel. Keep all my fuel and propane and oils and all that kind of junk in there. Over here is the workshop, which is going to get torn down, along with the shower sauna, which is also going to get torn down. That's going to get moved to the cliff face. And the workshop is going to get moved over to the area where the helicopter lands. I got my two sleighs for the snow machine. Right now I just have the Tundra work sled, which is almost 10 years old. And in November I'm picking up a 2025 Skidoo Scandic with a 900 ace 4-stroke engine. Much more capable work sled than what I have now. Also has the super wide track, which is going to give me great flotation in deep snow, which is abundant up here. So anyway, let's run down this back trail. It's a pretty steep drop, and it drops down to the area where the high tunnel is under construction and the outside garden. Both of them are 12 foot by 40 foot. Let's go. Here. So this part of the trail will take me back up on the forward trail going up to the cabin. That's the main trail. By 40 foot high tunnel. I need to get this whole area fenced in, electric fence up, solar panels, battery. Before I make a real effort at growing, I need to amend the soil. So I got a bit of a compost pile started here. Still need to get the lawnmower up here with the bagger attachment, and that's how I'm going to make my compost. I'm going to mow some areas and use that green mixed with some brown and get my compost going. This pole right here just marks the location of a rock. In the future it's also going to be the edge of the fence, so I got to stay on this side of it when the snow's deep. That whole pole, which is about 6'2", so it's about 7 foot. This will be buried in the winter, but by that I have a trail coming down through here. That way I can stay off the fencing that's going to be running here. We're going to have to board a 6-foot fence around
right up here, branching off to the right, is my logging trail. So I got two trail cameras on here, one facing up towards the cabin and one down towards the logging trail. This is probably the most productive area for wildlife. They seem to like this area right here. A little bit of a clearing. It's the junction of two trails, and wildlife, they use the trails. You put a trail in, the wildlife is going to use it. It's easy going for them. This trail only goes about a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile that way. I add on to it 100 yards at a time over the years. So this way takes you to the lake. This is the lake trail from the cabin to the lake. That's the only place it goes. We're entering the the portion I call the fern trail. You can see right now all the ferns have died back. You can actually see back into the woods now. In the middle of summer, this is all green. You can't see 10 feet back. Good to be able to see 10 feet or further back in case Yogi comes at you. Trailer here. Back where we came from, back to the intersection I call it. good. This is where the snow drift gets blown 15, 20 feet deep. Goes straight up in the air. That's why I built this detour trail down here. Bear left me a present the other night. Detour trail. When this gets too messed up and I don't have the time to shovel it, run down this way. So I have a bag of trash from the cabin and I'm going to stow it inside this steel box, keep the animals out of it. And then when I fly back into town, I'll dispose of the trash in town. Outhouse, foam seat, never gets cold. In the future, this needs to be rebuilt with a long roof that comes out with sides. That way I can dig the entrance to the tunnel and the tunnel remains open, because this is frequently buried, totally covered in snow, and I gotta dig my way down into the door during the winter. So in the future, this needs to be redesigned, maybe relocated. But the problem here is 2 to 6 inches down, you run into rock everywhere. Everywhere there's rock. They dug in a couple spots when they put this in, and this area is gravel. So they were able to dig out a pit out of the tiny gravelly rock. That's why it is where it's at. So if I happen to find another area that's got a bunch of gravel, that's where it's going to go. Still needs to be close to the cabin, so there's not many options. So right here is my burn pit. I just burn paper, wood, metal, like tin cans and stuff like that. The tin cans eventually fall apart into nothing. So all the rest of the trash is taken back to town. I have a 25-yard target just set up so I can check my 22 long rifle before I go grouse hunting or ptarmigan hunting. That's the reason they're set up there. So with the burn pit too, it's just used during the summer months. During the winter, you can let your trash freeze up and take it all back to town. So this side of the cabin is the north side, west, east. South side has all the solar panels on all the buildings. New shower sauna is going to be up over here. We'll stop there in a second. So this is going to be the new location of the shower sauna, right on the cliff face. It's going to have a window on the northwest side. Sauna portion is going to be the forward portion, and then I'm going to have a wall with the shower unit in the back.